If you can't see your numbers instantly, you're not running a business, you're rolling the dice. Let's be honest, lots of business owners, the financial side usually is not the sexiest topic. Like, okay, that's great, but I'm just going to go make more money and then all this stuff will take care of itself. Do you know how many times I hear that? But then people come back to me later on and like, oh shoot, I don't feel like I'm really out of my rat race, or I'm making money, but I feel broke. So I hear that type of statement all the time. And it's usually because of one big word. They don't have clarity. What does clarity really mean? It means you wake up and you know where every dollar is going in your business. It means that you could make a difference by either tweaking a number or knowing exactly what the cause of a number is to be able to make a change in your business, where the numbers are literally alerting you to those pressures or to wherever the pain points are and the bottlenecks in the business. Usually the first bottleneck we see when we come in and work with someone is that they don't have any numbers in place, or they're not tracking anything. You do also have the other extreme where they're tracking everything and it's not pinpointed enough to really give them something that's workable. When I look at numbers, I want to be able to have numbers that can help us make a decision. So that's where this whole video is going to be around. It's what numbers do you need to track in order to make a decision from those numbers? And why would you even need to do this? Because you're like, well, I've done business up until this point and I haven't tracked anything and we have money in the bank account and it doesn't really matter, right? This is where you also might have felt cash crunches along your journey. And if you haven't, they will come, because the market does not always play fair or nice or care about your business. That's where we have to have certain systems in place to know and to understand when to make those moves, when to adjust, when to make pivots, when do we need to go a different direction. And you know how you get that? By numbers, by data, like by knowing what to track. That is literally a $10,000 per hour task. It's not necessarily the bookkeeping and the actual data entry, but it's being able to interpret those numbers and have them in front of you so that way you can make those big pivots. For a lot of people, a good place to start, if you haven't started anywhere, and this is for any type of business, whether you're in real estate and you're fixing, flipping, wholesale, I don't care if you have a brick and mortar business and you're out there running a restaurant, one of the first things to know, which it's the most obvious, especially in the financial space, but how much are you spending out the door? Do you know exactly where every dollar is going? Do you know what you're spending on? And if you are marketing and you're using marketing dollars, do you know what the returns are for those marketing dollars? Where, just as a general blanket statement for any type of business that you're watching, you should be getting at least a 3 to 5x return on your marketing spend. 3 on the low end, 5 on like a good average. Now, some people can get 8, 9, 10, but you need to know, am I getting at least a 3 to 5x return? Maybe you're doing a lot of organic content and you're like, you know what? I do a lot of organic content and I don't spend a lot. Well, how about the return on time? How much are you posting out there? Are you getting a return on that? Like, I want you to be able to track, okay, how much time or money did I spend versus how much deal flow did we have or how much sales did we have this month? Now, if you can tie them together, that's the best of both worlds. Like if you have a CRM tracking every single lead and the follow-ups and like when a deal closed, maybe you have QuickBooks for the financial end when a deal closes and you can see the money and you can tie those two together of like, here's where the lead came from. Here's how many I actually closed from those leads to be able to say how much money did I make. You can actually pit against how much did I spend versus how much I made for a single channel. So that would be one thing that if you're not tracking that, that's the best place to start, because financial management and money management and a CFO and a dashboard, all of that is useless if you're not putting the money where it really matters to be able to make more money. I need you to be able to put money into marketing and know, hey, are we getting a return? Are we getting leads? Are we getting deals? Are we getting sales? Are we getting closings? Are we actually getting dollars in the door? That would be one of the biggest first steps. And if you have a dashboard that's worth its weight in gold, that's going to be one of the big things on there is what am I spending versus what I'm making. Another thing, if you are in the real estate world, here's another big one to track, because a lot of people, they are in real estate and they know that, hey, especially if you're flipping or if you're buying and holding, there's that wonderful time that's called work in progress of like, I am in the middle of a fix and flip and I am spending a lot of that money out the door. And it feels like if I keep doing this, I'm going to go out of business just because all this cash is going out. I would have you track knowing your cash positions, meaning how much cash do you have? How much do I have to finish the projects that I have in my pipeline versus how much cash do I have to run the business and the operations? If you've got anyone on payroll, do we have enough for payroll? Do we have enough to maintain the marketing spend? But then do I have enough to be able to finish the projects? Now, if you are in real estate, there is a profit first hack that I can throw out at you. The working knowledge is profit first is a system that helps you know where every dollar is going, and we help you set up bank accounts, which are like envelopes from the envelope method, making sure you're naming every dollar. But if you want a great number to track in your business, it would be how much cash do I have versus how much do I still have left of projects to complete. So we help set up an extra account specifically for real estate investors or any type of industry where you might get money sent to you or wired to you for a specific project. So a lot of people in real estate, they get private lenders, or they might get where they get wired directly the funds for purchase plus repairs plus, the holding costs. So that way I would have you set up a specific bank account we call it, whether it's the Investor Vault or OPM, and those can be interchangeable, but basically a bank account dedicated to anyone that sends you money to be able to fix and flip or to be able to complete a project in your business where that money is tied to that project. This will help you sleep at night. I'm telling you, if you're a fix and flipper and you're wondering, where's all my money going? I don't know if I have enough to finish the projects. I don't know if I have enough to keep running the business. If you could understand how much money do I have that's dedicated to finishing the projects that I have on the board versus how much projects do I have on the board? And how much do I really need to finish this? Because everyone that's a fix and flipper or everyone that out there they usually have some project management tool to know how many flips or how many projects do I have in progress and how much do I really need to spend in order to finish everything. That way you can see very clearly how much money do I have, how much projects do I have enough to finish them. That's another big one. So number one, I would make sure you're tracking your returns on marketing, and I kind of gave you some really good aspects of how to track that. Like if you have a CRM and you know how many leads are coming in and you're tracking the lead sources, I would also track on the QuickBooks side what were those lead sources, where they came from, and then when they closed, how much did you make from that lead source? So that way you could actually compare apples to apples of here's how much we spent, here's how many leads came in, here's how much we actually made. So that'd be number one. Number two would be your cash. Knowing where every dollar is going. That's where you set up profit first and know what's coming in, know what's going out. But specifically, if you are in a really industry heavy where you're going to be spending cash on projects like fixing and flipping or like buy and holding, or could be inventory management at a restaurant, like whatever it might be. But specifically, if you're in the real estate industry, knowing how much do I have in that OPM or how much do I have inside of that account, like to be able to know how much do I have to finish the projects that I have on the board. I would also say too, in that realm is those other accounts in profit first, knowing how much. And if you don't know profit first, from a twig, it's like, here's the 5 bank accounts. Owner's comp to pay yourself, profit to make sure you have profit in the business, owner's taxes, making sure you can pay yourself at tax time, income and OPEX. So knowing what's coming in, knowing what's going out of the business. So if you have those 5 fundamental accounts, you'll know how much am I able to keep, because those first 3 help you keep more. The owner's comp, the profit, and the owner's tax, they help you keep the money. I would also know the income account, how much is coming in or how much you're making. And then the OPEX, or operational expenses, how much you're spending out the door to run the business. OPEX is different than OPM. OPEX would be all the outflow of money to be able to spend the money to keep your business operational and scaling and growing, where OPM would just be able to get the projects off your plate and to be able to spend the money in order to get those projects done. So those are the difference between those two, but that's another number you could track as an owner, even if you don't have fancy system software, all that. But a dashboard, this is what a business owner who wants to be a true business owner needs. That will give them at the drop of a hat all those numbers. Some of those you can implement yourself. Some of those that I've talked about now, you're like, yeah, right, that sounds like a nightmare for me to even be able to track that. How would I even go about that? This is where I'm going to tell you, someone that, not just a bookkeeper, because a lot of owners will go to their bookkeeper and try to get those types of numbers, like a higher level number out of the bookkeeper, and the bookkeeper just hands them a profit and loss or hands you a balance sheet and says, good luck. Or an accountant, like a tax person, says, well, I can help you potentially save money on taxes, but I'm not your CFO. I'm not going to go over your business money management. That's where a CFO comes into play to build a dashboard to say, here's what these numbers are. All those things that we talked about are built on a dashboard like that we create to make sure you know where all those dollars are going and what's the return on marketing and really where are you spending every dollar and what's going out for your projects and do we need to go and find some more money so you don't run out of money even though you might be scaling up and you have great profit, but the flips are eating you alive because it's eating all of your cash. This is where I want you to have a very clear picture. Now, we've implemented a dashboard with every client that we work with, and a lot of times what we hear back from people is that they feel like it's a crystal ball because it also helps them know what's coming down the road. Because some of the things I didn't even touch on, like forecasting of, okay, how much are we going to do over the next 3 months, and what do we need to plan for if this does not go right? And if it does go right, how much money can we put in these different accounts to reinvest back in the business or to pay ourselves as the owners? So then you get to do more of that fun stuff. Or if you need to hire someone, what if you need to hire someone? Do you know how much you have to hire them? Do you know how long you'll be able to keep them on until you know like if they are a good hire or not and how much you're willing and able to spend on a new hire before you cut your losses? Those types of things are managed on a dashboard. And specifically, if you have someone like a CFO, what's a CFO? The Chief Financial Officer, someone more like a financial leader or a financial coach that's helping you through these big business decisions, but then with a very easy to understand, built for entrepreneur dashboard to say, what are those numbers? What do they mean? And how do I make a decision from these? That's the power of a true dashboard. So maybe right now you're tracking numbers. The number one question I would ask is, from every number that you're tracking, are you able to make a decision from that number? Number two, is it easy? Is it easy to track and easy to know how to pivot or how to make a better decision from that number? And are you looking at it consistently? Because that's the other thing. A dashboard, and if it's updated consistently, and if you have the hand-holding or accountability of a person like a financial leader, like a CFO, then you're able to look at it on a regular basis, and then it becomes part of your business and a part of the system and the structure that you have. That's why I would want you to have a dashboard in place, because then it's holding you accountable to look at those numbers on a regular basis. Then if you have a person there, that's literally another person holding you accountable to those numbers, because ultimately, why do we want you to be held accountable to the numbers? Because those numbers should point towards what you want from the business. Do you want financial freedom? Do you want to get out of your rat race? Do you want to quit your W-2? Have you already quit and you're like, I want to just pay myself more, or I want to sell the business in 5 years? Whatever it might be, the dashboard's going to help you get closer to that, but help you build good money and wealth habits. That way you can see what the money is telling you to do and you can make those pivots, because the number one thing that keeps people up at night is not knowing their finances. Even the people that sometimes lose money can sleep better at night because they know the decisions to make to get out of that hole. But if you're losing money, but you don't know it, that's when you wake up in cold sweats where you're like, I don't even know how much I'm losing or how much is coming in. That's why if you can see it right in front of you with pretty colors and knowing and big numbers here of like, here's where you are, here's where you want to go, and here's the gap between, here's the decisions we need to make together. That's what's going to give you that clarity to take your business to the next step. This is why you need a financial dashboard, but also the dashboard should help you achieve what you want from that business. And what we've seen time and time again with people in their crystal ball, be able to say, what's coming down the pipeline? How do I get there? And how do I pivot if something doesn't work out like we want it to? Thanks for spending time with me today. If this episode gave you clarity or a new perspective, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. If you're ready to apply what we talked about today with real guidance and accountability, visit profitrai.com to schedule a free discovery call with us to create your path to financial clarity and freedom.